Super Smash Bros. Is a Nintendo series that saw its first entry release in North America on April 26, 1999. In this game, you play as your favorite Nintendo character, either Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, Donkey Kong, Link, Pikachu, Jigglypuff, Samus, Kirby, Fox, Ness, or Captain Falcon. Well, your favorite out of this selection. Anyways, you play as one of those characters and duke it out against fellow Nintendo mascots, which, as all Smash Bros. Videos, this one included will tell you, put an end to the eternal childhood debate for who's stronger. Except that not really, because tier lists are a thing. The premise of Smash Bros. Is very original, especially at the time. In most fighting games, your character is very immobile and shuffles along the ground, and you attack your opponent in very specific ways and places, using a variety of attacks. It's similar to Zelda 2, just with options when swinging your sword. You use these moves in order to lower your opponent's life bar and prevent your own from being lowered. Once someone's health has reached 0, they lose the round. You play again until someone has won 2 rounds out of 3. Of course, not every game is best 2 to 3, and even in the games that are, I'm sure you can alter this in the settings. This is just a basic overview of what I believe to be most fighting games. There are bound to be differences and hidden complexities I didn't mention. Now, why did a person who's only played one classical fighting game when he was 6 describe the prevalent fighting subgenre? So, I can describe what makes Smash Bros. Unique. Clearly. Frankly, I'd be disappointed if you didn't see it coming. Unlike typical fighting games, Super Smash Bros. Doesn't have a traditional health bar. Instead, it has a percent system that goes up to a maximum of 99.99%. Once you reach that percent, it won't go higher. Since you have essentially infinite life, how could you possibly lose? It's simple. Super Smash Bros. Is won through knockback. Characters have moves that do more knockback than others. If one is hit by one of these abilities, their percent increases and they fly back a little bit, depending on the move. Your percent serves as a multiplier for how far you get knocked. Your character's weight is also a modifier. The lower the weight, the farther you will get knocked back. The goal is to knock the enemy off the map and not get knocked off yourself. Because of this, fighters have to be more mobile, capable of a lot of quick horizontal and vertical movement. As the expert, Smash Bros. Focuses more on spacing than the classical fighters of yore. Not to say those fighting games aren't about spacing, they just seem to focus more on using the correct moves at the correct time. Again, not saying that Smash doesn't focus on this as well. From what I have heard, the original Smash Bros. Is a fun game, when played casually. But if you decide to play the game competitively, well, I have bad news for you. The thing I described the game as earlier, yeah, fun, well, that's not exactly true anymore. A competitive community tends to sustain most fighting games, so Super Smash Bros. Remained a relatively niche N64 game in its primitive first installment, for 2 years, until Melee. When I say Smash Bros. Melee, I am certain a lot of things come to mind. Since I wasn't around, I'll just try and extrapolate. On December 3rd, 2001, Super Smash Bros. Melee was released in America. Melee is also the most purchased GameCube game with a total of 7 million units sold, compared to the meager 5.55 million sales of its predecessor. What can we learn from this data? Well, I can say a few adages. A good game sells its sequel, and people were excited to play as the new characters? I think it's memorable. Basically, Smash Melee was the first Smash game to go mainstream. In the original Super Smash Bros., only the protagonist and most iconic characters from main Nintendo franchises were in the game. This does leave out a few oddballs since Ness, Falcon, and Jigglypuff were in the game. Maybe the 90s were a very different time, the specific mascots were more popular in other countries. Or Sakurai just wanted them in for some reason and my metric system is wrong. Smash Melee introduces more characters, including villains, some really obscure ones, and even more main characters. Despite the massive increase of characters, people always want more, and there were more to give. Around schoolyards everywhere, people began to reveal to their friends that certain characters were actually playable in-game, like Sonic and Master Hand. Unlike most games, Smash Bros. Built off a pre-existing catalog of characters, so every single video game character is a potential candidate for Smash. Thus, people can discuss potential characters way easier than something like Apex Legends, who reveals a random character no one has ever heard of until that moment. And since Smash Bros. Became a known and celebrated thing because of this game, speculation began to grow into the familiar beast we know today. The thing is, despite the rumors about Sonic coming to Melee, the only characters who are in Smash are Nintendo characters. Brawl was revealed sometime in 2006. It began with familiar Smash characters getting their new high-definition renders. The trailer continued with newcomer after newcomer being revealed, all of them Nintendo characters, until everything changed with Snake's reveal. Snake is the first third-party character to be introduced into Smash Bros., and if anyone's ever heard of Metal Gear Solid, they know that the game isn't exactly E for everyone. Essentially, Snake broke almost all the barriers when he got into Smash. Along the road to Brawl's reveal, another third-party character was revealed to be in Smash. All 90s kids rejoice! Sonic is finally in Smash Bros. Sonic was essentially Mario's rival until a few things happened. But that doesn't matter. Sonic and Snake are both third-party video game characters. The floodgates are open. Every major video game character is fair game. Sort of. This sparked discussion and speculation for who could be next. If we add the internet into the equation, then speculation took place not only in person, but also across the world. Everyone could toss their Ridley fanfiction at each other and shoot down another Master Chief speculation piece. I have no idea how much Melee was advertised, but from what I've heard, Brawl was the first Smash game to really capitalize on the concept of Smash by making it an event. This is shown by the Smash Dojo website, which apparently revealed information about Brawl every week leading up to its release, and even continuing after. This website has a great line in an article where the writer sums up the story of Subspace Emissary, Brawl's story mode. The line is, however, since Mr. Game & Watch does not have any concept of good and evil. It continues a bit more, but that's the good part. Regardless, Brawl truly built up a lot of hype for its release. It was released March 9th, 2008, with online multiplayer. Unfortunately, the online was bad, and Brawl ended up being a less than stellar fighting game. It was a good party game though. Some characters that were in Melee weren't in this newer Smash Bros. Title. Despite these mechanical shortcomings, it really began to build the casually hardcore community. By this, I mean people who were really invested in the significance of a character being recognized as important enough to make it in, and speculating about other video game characters who could also be seen as legends. Although they are invested in this side of Smash, they tend not to play competitively, even though they may play quite a bit on their own. Basically, they play a lot of Smash, but they play other games too. Despite Brawl being an unpopular entry, people were not declaring Smash Bros. Dead. They were awaiting the next entry, one that would arrive 6 years later. While Smash Bros. Brawl began to acknowledge and take advantage of what Smash is, Smash Bros. For the Wii U and 3DS took what worked and expanded on it. Instead of the typical Smash trailer formula of showcasing the character and briefly interrupting that showcase with a goofy moment, they began to put full-blown cinematics as introductions to the new characters, as well as the traditional new character formula. Sometimes you could tell immediately who the new character was, and other times you're on the edge of your seat wondering who is finally coming to Smash. It was a great time. Masahiro Soccer Guy followed up the popular Smash Dojo with the almost forgotten but recently revived Pick of the Day. From June 11th, 2013 to December 5th, 2014, Sakurai posted photos of the upcoming Smash Bros. Titles every weekday. Some of the photos are pretty cool, showing new things coming into the new game. Games? No one knows. However, a decent chunk of them were pictures Sakurai just found neat. Pictures that really didn't share anything meaty about the game. Less interesting pictures tended to appear more frequently during the beginning of the Pick of the Day, and began to get more interesting leading up to the multiple releases of the game. The Pick of the Day was released on both the official website for these games and Miiverse, Nintendo's fallen social media-like thing. Smash for the Wii U was released in North America on November 21st and introduced 2 new third-party characters, at the cost of removing one. Pac-Man and Mega Man were added to Smash at the quote-unquote cost of Snake. Konami just didn't want him in Smash anymore. This, along with the removal of the Ice Climbers, and most of the Pokemon Trainer crew, added to the ever-growing list of characters getting removed from Smash, which is interesting because one of those characters who was removed at the time stood among the most requested characters. Such a shame that Mewtwo isn't in the game. At this period, Nintendo was just getting into selling DLC, so when Mewtwo was announced as a DLC fighter, everyone was excited. Even I, who didn't even know of Mewtwo before this, was excited. Of course, this one event opened up the possibilities of more DLC fighters, and they came. At first, the only DLC fighters you could buy were characters from previous games that didn't end up making the cut. But finally, a new character no one could have predicted was revealed: Ryu. Ryu comes from Street Fighter, a well-known fighting game belonging to the classical fighting game genre I mentioned earlier. As a child, I was surprised by his inclusion. Smash and Street Fighter are competitors, are they not? Both are well established and have their own public images to uphold. Smash Bros. Has the reputation of being the home to sweaty nerds, the worst kind, and is seen as a lesser fighting game by true fighting purists, the sweaty nerds who play classical fighting games. These two communities are very different, but for me, Ryu's inclusion formed a bridge between the two. If someone who plays Street Fighter calls Smash players stinky because they play Smash, a Smash player could come back with what is essentially no you. As a character, Ryu feels way more rigid when compared to other Smash characters. Hopefully, this gives a classical fighting game feel that people who play classical fighting games will be familiar with, while still operating under Smash Bros. Unique rules. So, not only is Ryu a surprising third-party addition that adds to Smash's ever-growing third-party catalog, but it attempts to bridge a subgenre gap. Along with Ryu, a few other characters came to Smash. The biggest character who was introduced was Cloud Strife from Final Fantasy VII. Final Fantasy VII seems to be a pretty important game for the generation older than mine. Since Final Fantasy is a pretty big series, this all compounds to be a pretty big reveal. So, Smash Bros. Continued making DLC. Corrin, a Fire Emblem sword fighter character with a unique moveset, and Bayonetta, a non-sword fighter character not from Fire Emblem. I refuse to comment any more on her, and Smash 4. Smash Ultimate was soft revealed at the end of a Nintendo Direct on March 8, 2018, in which the Inkling's surrounding area turns from white to black with a burning Smash logo behind them. We get a close-up of Mario and Link's face before ending on the burning Smash logo once more, which then transitions into half of the new logo. A couple months passed before we got any new information, until in June 12, 2018, it was revealed that everyone is here. Every single character that has ever been in Smash is in this one, including DLC characters. Even Snake is back. However, this isn't the only fan service thing that this iteration of Smash Bros. Accomplishes. They introduced one character thought too big for Smash, and another that just didn't appear but should have. Ridley and King K. Rool. Both of these characters were highly requested additions, more so Ridley than King K. They also introduced more characters like Incineroar, the Belmonts, and Isabelle from Animal Crossing. Even Piranha Plant, which led to the creation of a horrendous meme which I will not repeat in order to preserve integrity. This all led up to the day before Smash Ultimate's release, December 5th, the same day the 2018 Game Awards are being held. Major events like this that announce games tend to have one last surprise. The Game Awards announced that Joker from Persona 5 is coming to Smash Bros. Ultimate as DLC. This announcement altered speculation on future fighters. Previously, people who thought Minecraft Steve was getting into Smash were seen as a probably not, but who knows. Sakurai sure is wacky! But now Steve was a legitimate possibility. As the year continued, more characters were revealed and released, beginning with the plant itself on January 30th, 2019, which was then followed up by Joker on April 17th. Joker was released alongside version 3.0, which introduced Stage Builder into Smash Ultimate, and the share feature. A bit of time passes in which no news of the next fighters were revealed. At E3 2019, during the Nintendo block, the next two fighters were revealed. The second character being Hero from the Dragon Quest franchise. 4 of the heroes were playable in Smash, just as alternate skins. The third character revealed near the end of the E3 Nintendo Direct was Banjo and Kazooie. Hero is popular in Japan, and Banjo is popular in North America. Hero was released on July 30th, with Banjo being released on September 4th. The same day, the fourth character was revealed, Terry Bogard from the Fatal Fury series. This character is known mostly in Latin America. Terry came out on November 6th, leaving one last character to come out of the first Fighter's Pass, the controversial Byleth. Throughout the entire video, I've gone through a history of Smash without really addressing the video's title. The higher-ups at Nintendo have also been saying this, however, unlike most corporate phrases that are used, I don't believe this one to be completely vapid and soulless. In fact, during the 2019 Game Awards, Mr. Doug Bowser called Smash Bros. More than a fighting game, which I completely ignored at the time because I mistook it for a meaningless drivel. But it wasn't. It isn't. So, What makes Smash Bros. More than a fighting game? The reason I was inspired to make this video is Sakurai's comment on Smash Ultimate being more than a fighting game, and the community reaction to Byleth. After an entire DLC season of third-party characters, the release of a first-party character, nay, a first-party Fire Emblem character, is naturally not preferable, to put it lightly. But that's the point. People were not judging Byleth as a fighter. They were primarily judging them as a character and franchise, as I have too. Throughout the video, I focused less on the mechanics or meta of the game, but instead the inclusion of the characters, and in some instances, the impact they had. When Byleth was first revealed, a lot of people were calling them out as just another Fire Emblem character. A sword character just like all the others. This may counter my point of people only focusing on the franchise, but I don't think it does. In Byleth's and a lot of the newer Fire Emblem characters, their introductory teaser asks in a roundabout way for the fans not to judge them as just sword characters. And Byleth doesn't just use a sword. They use a bow, spear, and hammer as well. So I think when people saw Fire Emblem, they put on their Lucina, Chrom, and Ike lens sunglasses and filtered everything else out. I saw a lot of people who, instead of judging the coolness or potential of the moveset, judged Byleth, as said 1,000 times, by the fact that they are a Fire Emblem character. Now, let me ask you a question. What other series would have this type of reception to a content reveal? By this, I mean not even focusing on the content presented. In other games and communities, the trailer would be analyzed in an attempt at uncovering the mechanics behind the content before it releases. However, with Byleth's reveal, people were not studying the content. They were uncovering the package the content was delivered in. People were wrapped up in Smash's gimmick of recognizable video game characters fighting each other. Fighting games, in general, focus on the competitive aspects of what games can be, with a very tight mechanical focus and steep learning curve. This generally fosters a community that tries to better itself, which is what makes it so strange when people aren't focusing on the mechanics of the character, but instead acknowledging the character and their significance. Even though the character wasn't out at this time, Sakurai did show a lot of Byleth's gameplay at the reveal, which gives people a bit to speculate about. Smash's crossover is more prestigious than other games like Rivals of Aether with its Steam Workshop, or PlayStation All-Stars because Smash has established itself over the years, and will most likely be really good. Smash has coalesced into a massive crossover event, helped by the fact that a large chunk of Smash players belong to that casually hardcore grouping. We play other games as well as Smash. We are experienced gamers. We have played all sorts of different games, collectively giving actual impact to the characters' reveals. This is played off of masterfully by Nintendo, who since Brawl, acknowledged the power of the largely untapped potential and history we all carry. This history is added on to Smash Bros., along with all the other adventures you have gone on with or as the characters in Smash. Your first Nintendo game as a kid, and your current favorite game of all time. The series has evolved from playing as your favorite Nintendo character to playing as your favorite video game character. This is why half of the DLC was dedicated to including characters that are very popular in specific parts of the world. These characters all hold a place in our hearts, maybe not individually, but collectively, all around the world. They mean something to us. Even people I know who don't play Smash Bros. Often care about who makes it in. They continue to follow the game despite not playing it, because it does and could include games and characters that they love. This past and current passion now fuels Smash into what it is becoming, a celebration of gaming, or, in other words, something more than a fighting game.